When I came in, there was a challenge. The children were not going to school. So there was a school. The school started in the church, and at some point the church fell out of cash, and now the children were sent out. One of the earth angel called Paloma came to the school. I think where we had where the school was located was next to the road, so they could pass and see the children struggling. So one day she came in and requested if we can work together, which that is something I had prayed for a very long time, that somebody would just come and we push this thing, because I was getting out. I was planning to get out, to exit, because I was not able to keep the children. They were coming in hungry. Their needs were not met. We were not even meeting their needs, their learning needs, because we didn't have the learning materials. In fact, to be specific, we were just accommodating them for the day. It was like a daycare, keeping them for the day, then in the evening they go back to their parents. So at some point, when now Paloma came in, we set a meeting, and she came with all her team, that is Renee and other friends of hers. And now that is where we started. And the problems, the most needy problems were very immense. The most particular one at that point was the infrastructure, the classrooms, how we were going to create a bigger space for the children. I think that was their most immediate need. And another challenge was the sanitation. We only had one toilet that would be used by all the over 120 children. And another, because of lack of food at home, they were not consistent in coming to school. They would come, not come, they wouldn't perform, because ideally food plays a bigger role in the mind, the brain construction. So when they are hungry, I think we were struggling to keep the children safe at the school, but I wouldn't call it that we were doing the learning. The learning now started officially when the Earth Angel came in, because now they moved us from where we are. It was a very tiny place, very tiny. And from there, they now brought us here. They built the classrooms. They brought in the books, the textbooks. They brought in the learning materials, the desks, and everything that we needed, they sorted us out. And even on top of that, they have been very instrumental even in paying school fees for some of the girls and some of the very needy students that are coming here and cannot pay. They've even supported in even giving food back to the parents. And I think that is something that we are very much grateful about. And we continue, we are not ending there. I think the program has a lot in store to happen. We are still planning so much with them on how we can create this thing to be bigger.
Hello, we're back here on the Asian Persuasion Show, where we are getting to know our Asian brothers and sisters that live here in the nation of Kenya, and what they do and how they have positively impacted our great nation of Kenya. From our last episodes, we are still here with a wonderful lady called Paloma Fernandes. She is the CEO of the Cereal Millers Association of Kenya, and she is a mother of two beautiful daughters, Kaylee and Georgia, and the wife to one very lucky, Ian Fernandes. I'd like to welcome you, Paloma, to tell us a little bit about where we are and what have we been doing here, especially with Earth Angels. This is an organization that you started, a charity that you started. Tell us a little bit about the Earth Angels.
Okay, thank you very much, Pastor Nigel. Happy to be on the show. The Earth Angels is just actually a very simple concept of wanting to give back to community.
Sure.
We're three founders. So
Okay.
there's Renee Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get to talk to her a bit later. There
Yes.
is Marian D'Souza and myself. And it really came from this whole thing about us wanting to give back to the community. Our parents were missionaries. Our parents were also
Wow.
involved in giving back to society.
Yeah.
So we really started off pretty small, did a lot of the Mother Teresa, helped the Mother Teresa homes in Kenya.
Wow.
And what started off as a simple Christmas party every year, then grew so much because God blessed us a lot. And He really showed us that we needed to do so much more.
Yeah.
So apart from helping the Mother Teresa sisters, their homes were in Otiende, Kasarani and Huruma, and we started doing their Christmas wish list as well.
Wow,
There was
okay.
anything from mattresses, blankets, wheelchairs, water tanks, anything that they needed, we did that.
Yeah.
And then after that, we realized the need was still huge out there. So we started doing simple monthly feeding programs for about 16 of our homes.
Okay.
We started doing a lot of donations of exercise books and trying to get kids back into school.
Sure.
And then what happened is one day as we were driving through the slums of Githogoro, in a little like probably the size of one of the smallest classrooms here, we saw about 100 children studying in there.
Oh my God.
So we went in there and had a look at it, and it shocked us.
Wow.
And we thought, what can we do? We didn't have that kind of finance. But we realized that, maybe we could also make a difference. And we did a simple structure. We started off with one section of the school.
Yes.
It was just mabati and wood.
Yeah.
But at least, and then we started off with 100 children. We extended to the new section that you see here.
Wow.
And today we have close, I think it's 250, 275 children.
Yeah.
We feed them, we give them porridge in the mornings, we do lunch for them.
Yeah.
And we really, we give them exercise books, and it became, so education became a very key part of our whole goal as the Earth Angels. Our objective was to get more people into school.
Wow.
Today we have about 20 children that we provide scholarships in primary schools.
Oh wow, amazing.
And about, say, 12 children in secondary schools that we sent to government secondary schools for their education. People who couldn't afford it otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. Just wanted to ask about the classes. What do we have standard 1 to standard 8 here, or?
Yeah, so it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
We started off standard 1 to standard 6.
Okay.
And as we kept growing, it moved on to standard 7. And now finally, it's as though we've really achieved our goal. We've got standard 8.
Wow.
And we've got, I think, 8 candidates who are ready for their standard 8. So now we feel like we're taking them through the whole cycle.
That's amazing.
The children that really excel in standard 8
Yes.
are then sent to the Earth Angels sponsors them to go on to secondary schools.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
We want to take away a little bit from the school and just turn our eyes to a very dark season globally with regards to the COVID-19 pandemic. And during this time or roundabout, what were the Earth Angels up to at this season?
So it was a very strange time for all of us, and I think as the Earth Angels, we realized there was the normal need of just giving people. A lot of people lost their jobs,
Yes.
and so what we felt in the slums and working with a lot of the people that we do, our people on the ground, they told us that a lot of families didn't even have meals for the day. So what we did is we started off by doing 250 hampers, and those food hampers would last the family a month.
Wow.
From 250 people, we actually went up, I think we did close to 2,000 hampers for families in Githogoro alone. After we did that, then we realized there was a need, so we kept working with different people around the country. We did Nyakach in Kisumu, we did Nyatike, the same sort of concepts of hampers.
Yeah.
We also worked with Pamoja CSR, which is a team in Mombasa that also does this. They also do a lot of work. So we did the whole Lamu areas.
Yeah.
But one of the most interesting things we did during the COVID pandemic is we realized that farmers didn't have access to markets.
Yeah.
So there was a cessation of movement. You couldn't get your produce out.
Right.
The produce was rotting on the fields, and yet there were people, your neighbors were hungry.
Yeah.
So what we did then is we decided to buy all that the farmers had. So
Okay.
in Kilifi County, Kwale County, Tana River,
Yes.
we bought cassava.
Yeah.
5,000 kilos of cassava from each
Wow.
area. We bought coconuts, over 2,000-3,000 coconuts. We bought mangoes. And then we actually bought it from the farmers and got the county officials to distribute it to the vulnerable.
Oh wow.
So we kind of gave the farmers some sort of incentive to grow again.
Correct.
And
yes.
the products didn't rot.
Yes.
And then we supplemented it with maize flour and wheat flour and oil, so it helped them during the pandemic.
Wow.
I think we would have reached over 4,000 families in these areas of Kilifi, Kwale, and Tana River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this has had a lot to do with your Christian expression of faith. You know, I'm you know, I see in Scripture where God says in the Bible that, you know, how can you claim to love God whom you have not seen, and yet not love your fellow man whom you do see and are made in His image and likeness. Mother Teresa was one of the biggest champions of that message, really living out the gospel through acts of kindness, and she is a major influencer of the Earth Angels in the expression of love and care that you guys have. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So definitely, I mean, my inspiration at the Earth Angels has always been Mother Teresa and her ability to work with the poor of the poorest.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that she said, because we were always feeling overwhelmed, there's so many people we need to help. What do we do? And her simple strategy was you help one person at a time.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the rest. It's like that ripple effect. When you help one person, it kind of just ripples and you're helping more and more people.
Wow.
So she truly has inspired us. We really try to work with the poorest of the poor. We have a special affiliation with those who are also mentally, physically challenged as well. We work a lot with them.
Yeah.
And of course, just working with those who are totally vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your influence with the Cereal Millers Association, you said that also helped in that COVID pandemic, where you supplemented the maize and all that.
Yes, I mean, a lot of our members of the Cereal Millers Association did help us with, you know, giving us a lot of food stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of our donors for Earth Angels a lot of them come from the Asian community, actually.
Wow. Wow.
Majority of our donors come from the Asian community, and they have really kept us afloat and kept us going.
Amazing.
Their support has been tremendous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Paloma. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Would love to have some time with maybe one of the other Earth Angels.
Yes.
And just kind of hear from them, and also just get to know them and hear that expression of love through another person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was a wonderful time, an interview that we had with Paloma Fernandes, and now we are joined with Renee. Please, Renee, tell us a little bit about yourself as one of the Earth Angels.
Well, I was born in Nakuru, born and bred in Nakuru with the local community around us. So I lived amongst the local community a lot. My neighbors, friends were mostly close to the slum area, I would say, Bondeni. So we would, that's where I learned to have a giving heart, an open and giving heart.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my background.
Yeah.
Moved to Nairobi and studied here a bit, and then started working.
And you and Paloma have been buddies for a long, long time, I imagine.
Forever.
Yeah. So you, Paloma, and Marian are the founders of the Earth Angels.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what does being an Earth Angel mean? Can anyone be an Earth Angel? Can I be an Earth Angel?
Okay, so I've always been drawn to the angelic realms.
Yes.
So that's where I came up with this name with Earth Angels, because I always believe there's an angel standing behind your back.
Wow.
Protection.
Guardian angel.
Yeah, guardian angel.
Yeah.
So just like that, us being on earth, we can also be angels.
Yeah.
And that's how the name came up, Earth Angel. So yes, everybody can be an angel.
And this particular school that we're at, where are we again? At St.
Stephen's, yeah.
In
Githongoro
Githongoro slum.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your heart for this place, for this community that's here and now.
So when we were out there, I used to work for a drug and alcohol rehab center. So when I was working with doing social work, working with drug and alcohol rehab students, street children, and in the slums,
Sure.
we would go around looking. I get in touch with a lot of NGOs, a lot of communities, and this is one of the communities that when we were walking around, we found Ruth in a very small compound somewhere around Githongoro, and that she expressed her distress of how she was running the school, and she was being kicked out of the place that she was in, the small land. She couldn't afford to pay rent, she couldn't afford the land anymore. And we decided to see how to help, put our heads together.
Yes.
And we put her to task to look for a place, a land, and we would see how to help from there. So she found the place, and we started to help her build up. Yeah. So for a long time, this has been like, you know, seeing it from a seed growing, and it's now reached standard 8. Seeing the children happy, and you know what was worse was seeing. Ruth told us the story of how the kids would not have a meal. They'd come to school hungry. They don't have food at home, no food during the day, so they can't even learn. They don't have that concentration. They are hungry. They are tired. So we thought of coming up with a feeding program for them. And we started an Uji feeding program. It started with Uji and then went up to lunch as the donations came in. And we work with a lot of Asian foundations that help to provide books, Uji, you know, not just for this school, but also for other schools around.
That's wonderful, Renee. Thank you so very much for making the time to be with us here
You're
today.
most welcome.